Will AI come and take counsellors and psychotherapists' job? What's your thoughts on this, Rory?
It's the Terminator scenario, isn't it? The film Terminator, where the machines take over. And I was thinking a lot about this because I too saw the discussions in the Facebook page. Certainly AI is very smart and I use it in my day-to-day work. But I do feel it is very smart, but it has no soul. It'll never love. It'll never feel loss. And I think we shouldn't lose sight of that. But I will yield to Ken, who is rather an expert in this field.
I wouldn't say I'm an expert, but it's certainly a topic that is very dear to my heart. And I'm very fortunate to sit on the expert reference group for ethical use of AI in counselling and psychotherapy, along with our ethical bodies, talking about what this might look like. And in the absence of a clear path forward, we fill it with conjecture. We fill that with fear, is usually a human emotion that we might put to something that we can't see. And I think the first question that we need to answer when we're considering this topic is, what do we mean replaced by AI? What do you mean when you think counsellors being replaced by AI? What are you seeing? So I have no doubt, and in fact I'm almost 100% sure, that counsellors and psychotherapists are going to be using AI ethically within their practice. But it will be a human using AI to amplify who they are and what they do, rather than replacing who they are and what they do. I can say this with some confidence because there are already applications that are in trial within the NHS right now for mental health. And if I'm honest, Rory, it's looking pretty good in terms of the outcomes that they're getting from what they're putting out. But I do need to say now that what I'm speaking about are tools for assessment, triaging,
Yes.
and there are some coaching tools that can be used around CBT for exercises, explaining those exercises again, helping people to maybe stay engaged with what has been suggested by the counsellor in between sessions. That seems to be the pathway that this is going down at the moment, Rory, from what I can see.
Yeah, I would agree with you, Ken. I think that what I would call the back office function of counselling, things like booking appointments, things like sending out Core 10 or PHQ-9s and doing the kind of quantitative side of that. And I also think the coaching element is an interesting part. So somebody has an intrusive thought, they go to their AI consult, they put in what's happened, and it asks a series of questions that could be used for coaching. And to be honest, this isn't just AI. When I worked for Mind many years ago, they were introducing something called Beating the Blues, which was a computer-based CBT program. So I do think that we're in a very early stage of AI and mental health, and I think it'll find a place. I'm old enough to remember where people thought that computers would take over everybody's work. So I think there's a lot of concern about it, a lot of fantasy maybe being played out in people's minds. And I think eventually it'll just find a place. It'll settle. And I don't think the human connection will ever disappear, quite honestly. I hope not.
I hope so too, Rory. I really I really do hope so too. And I want to just be really clear here when I'm speaking about this. When we're speaking about AI, we're not speaking about chatbots. We're not talking about what you may think of as AI when you go to ChatGPT. We're talking about custom-built tools that will be built by technology companies under scrutiny from experts and data professionals and the NHS that we will use in counselling and psychotherapy. And it will be more of a copilot. It will be lifting the burden, taking away the things that are, I guess, outsourceable. Now, the thing that is not outsourceable is your connection with that client, that human-to-human connection. Rory's already mentioned empathy, intuition, reading subtle cues. AI is no good at that. It requires that human connection. However, and I think this is really important, there is a massively high usage of the chatbots, the LLMs, the ChatGPTs, where the general public are using it as therapy. They're asking it therapeutic questions. They're asking it what they should do in their life and for guidance and for advice. Now, what happens in that kind of a situation is it's going to give flawed information, biased information that is not aligned to that person. And this has happened in the past, and there are a number of lawsuits right now happening, and more to come, with companies that build LLMs, where in the extreme cases, people have taken their own lives because of the interactions that they've had with these LLMs. And what is happening is that the companies making these LLMs are realizing this needs to stop. They can see that damage, and they're putting guardrails on which will stop chatbots from giving guidance and advice, specifically around mental health and therapy-related topics. And I think that's a good sign. So it is all very new, but here's the kicker. At the end of the day, what we do is not just a transactional conversation. We are held by ethical and legal boundaries as counselors and psychotherapists. We're called upon to do defensible decision making when in some cases you might not know what decision to make. It might be an ethical dilemma. So how can we expect that AI would make such a decision? And if it got it wrong, who would be accountable? That's where it becomes interesting. And I think that's why when I look forward, I'm really optimistic about counselling and psychotherapy. I think AI is going to displace so many within their profession. I think there's going to be entire sectors wiped out. I see a tsunami of pain and disruption coming. And I think counsellors and psychotherapists are going to be one of the few who, if we can ride the wave and learn to adopt AI and learn the tools we need to learn, the ethical use of, which is not in between us and the client, we're one of the protected professions. And that is only my thought, and it's also my hope, Rory.
Absolutely. And I think my observations on the use of AI, I think the therapist should lean into it. It might be seen as the enemy, but I think you're more employable if you know about AI. I think all our profession is evolving and changing in ways maybe that we didn't envisage. So I think my hope would be that we're still in a healthy position, but I would reiterate that those who don't know about AI or shy away from it, I think you're going to have at some point to engage with AI.
100% couldn't agree with you more, Rory. I think what we need to do is we need to recognize we can only control the controllables. It's up to the government, it's up to levels higher than us to set the agendas, to put the laws in place. Of course, we have a voice in that, and certainly we at Counselling Tutor are working with the ethical bodies to make that voice very clear and very heard. Within Counselling Tutor right now, we have been working for about 6 months on an ethical AI literacy course. So watch this space. Always make sure you're on our email update list, because we'll be mailing out about that, and we'll probably have a free webinar around AI literacy as well coming up. So lots of development in that area from us. And I'm going to leave you with this, Rory, and I think this is the most important part of this whole topic. We've been focusing on ourselves. Will AI take my job? Is it going to affect me as a counsellor? Here's the thing. I've already hinted at this, but the real challenge is that there is a tsunami wave coming of other people in sectors that will and already have been disrupted by AI, that are losing their job, their identity, their standing in community. The people lose their entire identities of who they are, their whole career. Imagine a client sitting in front of you and saying, the whole career that I studied for at university and have been practicing it for the last 40 years, climbing the ladder, has been wiped out and doesn't exist anymore because it's been totally replaced by AI. How do we hold those clients? And I think that is the real question. I think we've got to get over the what is my relationship with AI so that we can be that therapist to a lot of people. are going to be in pain that may turn to counsellors and psychotherapists. And I think this may be a crisis where it's all hands on deck, and we need as many therapists who can at least have a conversation and understand AI as is possible. And I think that's the real work as we go forward, Rory. Great topic. Thanks for bringing it.
Thank you for watching. I hope you found this video valuable. For more free resources, have a look at our YouTube channel or visit counsellingtutor.com